Welcome to Housing Development.
I'm Jim Tobin.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, man.
How you doing? I'm doing well. Here we are. Finally a hot day in D.C., right?
I know.
You know,
2 days ago, it was like 70 degrees, sweater weather, and now 90 degrees.
Yeah. Good weather. I mean, it's about time. We're in mid-June, and it's coming up to the Ledge Con, right? Which means it's usually steamy and hot. Got some Canadian smoke coming down from our neighbor to the north. I wonder if we're tariffing the smoke from the Canadian fires. I haven't thought about that, but we should talk
15% at minimum.
That's right. That's the least we can do.
So before we start, let's give a big shout out to our sponsor, LG Pro Builder.
Yep, let's build the good life together. Thanks for supporting the podcast.
Absolutely, and let's do another couple of shout outs. So National Homeownership Month in June.
Yep, that's right.
So that we're big on that, and then of course our hearts go out to the folks in Kentucky that got hit by some storms.
Yep.
We've got something on the website.
We do.
Know, if anybody wants to donate to that cause, please do so. It's up on the website right now. Yeah.
Obviously, Jonathan Falk, our master of disaster, but our vice president for disaster, he's been in contact with Kentucky and, of course, working with them to get through that. And again, like you said, on the website, you can find a way to donate to the Home Builders of Kentucky, their disaster relief fund,
right.
and the Red Cross I think is on there as well.
That's exactly right.
So, well.
So and if you want to keep giving, though, we also have our own disaster relief fund, right?
Yeah, the Home Building Industry Disaster Relief Fund. We've coming out of the International Builder Show meeting, we approved three grants for disaster recovery and across the South in the Helene and Milton disaster areas. So we continue to do good work, and thank you to the members who have supported the Disaster Relief Fund, and we just met earlier this week to consider another application. Unfortunately, you hate to do that, but. Right. But to the directors of the Disaster Relief Fund, we want to do our part to help out.
Absolutely. Okay, so you've already mentioned next week is our spring leadership.
Yeah, spring leadership meeting and legislative conference.
So you were just joking around. It's a murderer's row of legislators who are going to be joining us that
Wednesday morning. We have our legislative breakfast. It's going to start early, but for our members, it's probably not that early. Right. But we start early in the morning with some great members.
Yeah. So the big get was Tom Emmer, right?
Tom Emmer, whip of the House of Representatives.
That's right. And then we got Mike Flood from Nebraska. We've got Nick Langworthy from New York, and then Jackie Rosen from Nevada, right?
Yeah, great bipartisan group. They're going to come in through the course of the morning. They're all integral in NAHB's legislative agenda, whether it's supporting workforce development legislation in the Senate, like Jackie Rosen, or whether it's Tom Emmer, who's basically responsible for corralling the votes to move things forward. We know the House just passed their big tax bill. Tom Emmer is the guy who got them to 218. So great lineup. A real kudos to Lake Colson and the government affairs team for scoring really high profile members of the House and Senate to come visit with the members. Kick off that day, then we'll get everybody on buses at Capitol Hill. We'll storm the hill, do the good work, and then we all come back to the hotel for a big post-day reception.
Celebration, right? It's a celebration.
Yeah, we call it Ledge Prom. Yeah, right? Lots of balloons and drinks and hors d'oeuvres, but a chance for everybody to tell their war stories. Yeah. Download the government affairs staff about what they heard. If there's some leads they can chase for co-sponsorship or things like that. So it's going to be a great day. We have I think we're almost 1,000 people registered for the meeting. So it's going to be a great day as always.
And we haven't been resting on our laurels. I know that you, Chairman Buddy Hughes, and Bill Owens went and spoke with the EPA head. Yeah.
We went over to Lee Zeldin, who's the EPA administrator. Right. So we went over and met with him and his team to talk about the deregulatory agenda. That's as important as anything we're working on right now. Right. And EPA has vowed to issue more new regulations and guidance over the next 6 months than any time in history. I mean, it's a super tall order. Many of them are critically important to us, whether it's new nationwide permits, which govern land use and land development, I should say, in the country, whether it's working with them on the new WOTUS regulations, the rewrite of the Biden era regulation, which we think A, went too far, B, wasn't clear, and C, didn't really honor the Supreme Court case that has really, the ruling they came down with a couple of years ago. So for us, it was a real chance to talk about home building, housing, where the industry's going. We talked a lot about Energy Star, that program, and how do we, that is kind of slated for reconsideration.
Block, right?
And what they want to do. We talked a lot about that, how a lot of our members use it.
Right.
Not only is it a marketing tool, but it really is, it's got that government stamp of approval when it comes to energy efficiency, and it's voluntary, which is what we love.
Right. Was he receptive to that in terms of bringing that back, or?
I would say open to ideas. I think they're looking at a program that has a lot of manpower behind it, costs a lot of money in their mind, and would it be better suited either Department of Energy? Would it be better suited run by a private sector?
Right.
But we had a good conversation about it. But we know where they want to go. Yeah. We know the value of that program, and I think I've talked about this administration. They're certainly open to our ideas. Yeah. And we'll see what we can do to keep it going. I think it's a really important program.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so not to bum everybody out, but there is an idea that we want that this administration is a little bit more lukewarm about, and that's what's going on with the Department of Labor and Job Corps, right?
Yeah, Job Corps, unfortunately, is firmly on the chopping block for a variety of reasons. The Department of Labor has looked at the Job Corps program, audited the Job Corps program, and they've made the determination that the bang for the buck isn't there. Right. I disagree with them fundamentally. Sure. HBI, the Home Builders Institute, run by our friend Ed Brady. Yep. They are the largest Job Corps contractor. They're the trainer, one of the trainers, nationwide trainers, operating in tens of Job Corps centers around the country. They have been told by the Department of Labor, to wind down the Job Corps program in the next 30 days by the end of June.
And there's the Stronger Workforce for America Act, right? And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is to try and get them to shift in that direction, right?
Yeah, it's a combination of things, right? We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Yeah. And the president has committed to training the next generation of workers. Certainly Job Corps is focused on kind of that teen, young adult, a disadvantaged youth, and it's really important. Give people opportunities, in that socioeconomic sphere. Give them opportunities in the construction sector. We need more construction workers, right?
Absolutely.
So it works well. There's 99 Job Corps centers across the country. Unfortunately, again, they think that we're spending too much money to train those kids, and that the placement rate of those kids is too small for the taxpayer dollars. A familiar refrain from the Trump administration as they look to cut government spending. Right. What we want to do is come up. Okay, what is how do you reimagine Job Corps? But more importantly, how do you reimagine that mission? Yeah. The HBI is well positioned to be that solution. Sure. Not only to save the Job Corps program and offer solutions in there, but if the Job Corps program goes away, what again? How do we train that population? And I know that Ed and the HBI team have a model that we have been talking to the Department of Labor, the White House, National Economic Council, Domestic Policy Council,
anybody who will listen, right?
Capitol Hill. Look, we have got to train these kids in this population, and we can do that. So a little bittersweet, we are still hopeful to use our allies on Capitol Hill to save the program and have that conversation about how do you reimagine it or how do you reform it. But it's a constant deal. Our government affairs team is working hand in glove with Ed. Yeah. They were over at the Department of Labor several times. They've been into the White House, but it's going to be an uphill battle. We're going to have our members talking about workforce development and Job Corps, as well as some other pieces of legislation next week. But workforce development is one of our strategic pillars.
Absolutely.
And so we as an industry have to keep that mantra up, training the next generation of skilled workers so that we have enough workers to build the homes we need.
No, absolutely. Okay, so the next step was obviously next week. Is there a time limit as to when we'll know definitively that it is off the chopping block or stayed on the chopping block and gone? I mean, what are the deadlines here? Do you know?
Well, I mean, certainly June 30th, where they've been told to start winding it down. Now, I think the hard part is there's 25,000 kids in this program nationwide.
It's already being affected, right? People are already winding down, right? That's the problem.
They are. And so you have to, they've committed to putting these kids in other programs in their neighborhood or in their areas. Right. Easier said than done, number one. Number two, what do you do with the kids who are homeless? Because it is a residency program. where do you put those kids? Our fear is that if once those kids get out of the program, they're never coming back.
Yeah.
The instructors, HBI employs, over 100 people that are training across the country. You're going to have to lay them off. Where does that program go? Where do those instructors go?
Right.
There's a lot to do in a really short period of time. And we're hopeful that, I've been talking about the administration swinging sledgehammers and, knocking, breaking things and kind of putting them back together.
Right.
I'm hopeful this is one where they say, well, maybe we need a more orderly transition here. We are part of the solution. We want to be. We've communicated that. Again, whether it's a reimagined Job Corps and reformed Job Corps program, or whether it's something to replace it, we are poised to be the answer to that question.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be, and it is a downer. But again, we're working, lot of stomach acid, a lot of lost nights, trying to make sure that we've solved this problem.
Yeah. Lake Colson seems like this is like a personal thing for him. Like every time I see him, like if he's got bad news, he's feeling it. Right.
Yeah. Remember Lake has been saving this program for the last several years. Yeah. We've got great allies on Capitol Hill. We know the president's committed to this, but again, what's the solution moving forward? But again, we are, as a team, an HBI and an NHB team, as well as our workforce, other, coalition partners, we're all focused on fixing this.
Right.
But we'll have more update for the members next week, but it's high stress time right now.
Yeah, truly. But I miss the good old days when summer was like the weaning, like it was dead in August.
Yeah.
June has always been a little bit chaotic.
Yeah,
everything shuts down.
Well, I got it. So look, government, you can either have a passive Congress doesn't do anything, or you could have them working hard,
right.
Or you have an administration that's working hard. I prefer the working hard piece. We can disagree, and we're never going to like everything that happens.
Right.
But we're busy. If the members ever wondering what the advocacy pillar is, but B, what the value of membership is, we are earning it right now. We earn it right now, day after day, and everybody in the building. But from right now, these are busy times, and there's a lot of smart people thinking about things. GSE reform, right?
Right.
FHA Director Bill Pulte and the president have been tweeting about about GSE reform.
Yeah.
We're going to be at the tip of the spear on that too, right? So there's a lot going on.
Oh no, absolutely. All right, let's try and end on a positive note, right? We got a good decision from the Supreme Court, right? It was a unanimous decision. How often does that happen? Right?
Not with this court.
That's right. 7-county infrastructure versus Eagle County. I mean, essentially, it's all about infrastructure, right? Involving NEPA, right. Where most people day to day aren't dealing with NEPA, but if you're doing the larger projects,
yep.
And what the scope was, okay. Normally, you have to look at X, Y, and Z. That's your purview. But if A, B, and C over here is also part of the equation, do you have to go outside of your purview to kind of make sure that you're doing due diligence?
Right.
The lower court said, yes, absolutely. You have to do everything, go look under every rock.
Right.
Supreme Court said, no, that's a big win for us because that then kind of focuses in on what each of these administrations and each of these groups have to do.
Yep.
And they don't have to go and spend more months and weeks trying to put these things together and this endless search for what can be, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's traditional mission creep when it comes to the law that Congress wrote, how it's interpreted not only by the administrative branch, executive branch, but then also lower courts have done it too. So this reins that back in. Good. Again, if we can get permits processed faster, cheaper, and with less expansive scope, that's a good thing for any kind of development in the country, and hopefully leads other states to follow suit, and localities that maybe we can actually speed up the permitting process when it comes to housing.
And we always talk about this. We're not anti-codes, we're not anti-permitting, but we want just common sense legislation and common sense procedures that our folks can use and they know what they're doing, because half the time you need to hire a team of people just to go and look at the codes and everything just to do your business, right?
That's right. It's the same thing. I think of waters of the United States. If you want to develop land in this country, you got to get a federal permit. You should be able to walk on a piece of property that you're considering, look out there and say, okay, I've got to mitigate for that. That's clearly a ditch with water in it when it rains twice a year, and I don't have to mitigate for that. Right. You should be able to assess the economic value of that property pretty quickly, not have to have, like you said, a fleet of experts. And so we're getting there slowly, but we're getting there. I think, again, that Lee Zeldin conversation at EPA, those are those things that we talked to him about.
Absolutely. All right. Well, next week we'll actually going to be podcasting from
live
from the hotel.
Right from headquarters hotel.
Absolutely.
That's right. Looking forward to seeing everybody.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, with that, I think we call it.
Yeah. One more time for our friend at LG Pro Builder.
Let's build a good life together.
Let's do that indeed. All right.
All right.
So until next time, I'm Jim Tobin.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
See ya.
Bye.